Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com for Saturday, July the 9th. Tom Leach, along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting, and really nice card at Belmont Park on Saturday, which is what we're going to take a look at. They have 6 graded stakes races, 2 grade 1s on the turf, and there's a that encompasses an all-stakes pick 6, and there's an all-stakes pick 4, so let's jump right in, Jim. And the 6th race is the grade 3 Victory Ride. And who did you like?
Well, there's 9 horses in here, and I can make a case for quite a few of them. But I settled on Coppa, the outside horse for Phil D'Amato, the 9, shipping from Santa Anita. I like the fact that Joe Talamo comes to ride her. And these 3-year-old fillies are tough. I mean, I can make a case for I've got 4 horses here that we're going to talk about, but Coppa's only been out twice, and it's won by 3 1/4 each time, and gone to the lead on a speed favoring track out there. So you don't know whether Belmont's going to be speed favoring or not on Saturday, and it's always a risk coming from the West Coast to the East Coast. But I like the fact that Joe Talamo comes with her. So Coppa is my pick here. Lost Raven, the 8. For Todd Plesher, won the Miss Preakness on Pimlico at Pimlico on, I guess that's Black Eyed Susan Day, and beat 1 True Kiss, who's another horse in this race. I think she's going the right way right now, and she's competed in graded stakes and won a grade 3. So this is the same level, and I think she's got a real shot. I think Blast for Eddie Canale gets Castellano, won an allowance race at Churchill Downs. I always like Churchill horses shipping up there. This horse also ran well at Keeneland in a 7-furlong allowance back on April 8th, got beat by Twirl Girl. So I think Blast has a shot moving up in class. And Appealing Maggie for Michael Hushin ran in the Jersey Girl behind a runaway winner, Karina, last out. So those 4 horses will be my top 4 picks, the 9, 8, 1, 6, probably in that order. So I'd keep Coppa on top with the 9 horse.
I ended up taking Appealing Maggie, that horse that beat her last time, Karina. I think is going to be a future graded stakes winner. I wouldn't be surprised to see her show up in something like the Test. She's really good, so that was a really good horse that she lost to. Really fast fractions, and she still held on to be a clear second. Now making the second start off a layoff, so I really like Appealing Maggie a lot in here. But if you're doing a pick 6, I certainly couldn't single because of Coppa. That's the one I would be most afraid of against my pick. So I think for me it's one of those 2. Flattery Will Get You, I thought was a little interesting. I might throw in an exacta, but I'm going to key on Appealing Maggie, box her with Coppa, and then maybe do a smaller box with Appealing Maggie and Flattery Will Get You. That's the grade 3 Victory Ride for 3-year-old fillies. They go 6.5 furlongs. 7th race is for the boys, 3-year-olds, and they're going to Flat Mile, the grade 3 Dwyer. And you've got Economic Model, who's really impressive on Belmont Day in the opening race. You got Fish Trap Road, who ran well in the Woody Stevens. You got Lauban coming out of the Preakness. Voluntario ran to second, a close second to American Freedom at Pimlico, came back to win off that. So it's a nice group. I ended up going to an Economic Model, though, with that 101 buyer last time. Those last 2 races are real impressive for this horse. Looks like this horse is really in top form, so it's the right time to just slide right up to a grade 3 and pick off that level. It's not too ambitious a move here, and I think Economic Model looks really tough to beat in here. I'm going to key him in exactas with the others I mentioned, Fish Trap Road, Voluntario, and Lauban. How about you?
Well, I'm going to take a horse that you didn't mention. Swipe ran second to Nyquist 4 times during his 2-year-old season. He hasn't been the same horse since he's come back. I don't know what's going on with him. You know, Keith DeSormo, obviously, is a great trainer. won the Belmont, but Kent gets back on the horse here after a couple times going to Pratt and Alvarado. He was really disappointed in Lexington. I thought he ran better in the allowance race at Belmont, and it's a nice tune-up for this. I don't think he was fully extended there. I just keep going back to the fact that he got within a half a length of Nyquist in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and I just think his back class is much better than anything in here. Economic Model is better right now. So it comes out to a current form versus a back class, and they would be the 2 that I would use in any multi-race wagers. I think they stand out over the others. Fish Trap Road almost won the Woody Stevens, got beat by Thomas Reddy, who finally got his win. So Fish Trap Road would be my 3rd choice, but I'm going to take a shot here at Swipe, thinking that people might do like you did, overlook him.
Yeah.
I think that's a mistake. I think he's got that back class, and I think he might be ready for a big effort here. So
You'll get rewarded, I think, for a decent price on him if you're.
I think so too. I think Economic Model and Fish Trap Road and even Leoban and Voluntario are all going to get money. So I think it's a wide open race, and I'm going to take Swipe at a price in here.
Yeah, I would think I would have to go back probably and take Swipe instead of Laoban. You make some good points there. I think I would certainly. I think I include him over Laoban in mine. I think Laoban needs to drop back into a one other man and get a little, or a maiden. That's right.
He's still a maiden. He can run in maiden special weight if you want to.
Yeah. Let's talk about Class Edge. That would be a big one there if he does that at some point. The 8th race, really good betting race. The Grade 1 Belmont Derby. They've got 2 Grade 1s, one for the boys, one for the girls, both 1.25 miles on the turf. Really like what they've done with these races here in the summer at Belmont Park. Who'd you like in the Belmont Derby?
Yeah, Martin Panzo, when he went up there, decided he was going to do big days, and so he's focused on Belmont Day, and this is their Stars and Stripes Day. Even though it's kind of because of the calendar, it's a week later than it was last year. So all of our numbers are off because Belmont was really huge last Saturday when we looked at my simulcasting figures. So they're a little bit late because of the Derby being later. But, yeah, it's a great card. And this one kicks off the late pick 4, and I'm going to give you a preview of my late pick 4. I'm going to buy this race. I really think Camelot Kitten is probably going to be the favorite. And Ken Ramsey knocked off $1 million race on Sunday with a horse that I did not think could win at 15-1, won the Queen's Plate. And he gets these horses in the right spot for big races, and he'll probably be there pulling the bridle off the horse at the end. Camelot Kitten is probably going to win the race, but I don't think he's the standout here. I think Aero Force, coming out of the Penn Mile, got beat by Catch a Glimpse, who's coming up in the Belmont Oaks later on in our podcast. And Air Force lost to Camelot Kitten in the American Turf at Churchill, so I think he's right there. I think Surgical Strike is right there for Ben Colebrook. I think Long Island Sound and Humphrey Bogart shipping over from Europe are unknowns. They're probably not the best horses from over there, but they probably fit. Deauville for Aidan O'Brien coming out of the Epsom races. So I think there's a lot of ways you can go in here, and I am going to buy it for the pick 4. But if you made me pick somebody, I'd probably pick between Camelot Kitten, Surgical Strike, and Aero Force.
I'm going to go European here, and the reason is I'm basing it on this theory that the American contingent is very evenly matched, nice horses. I'm just not sure there's a grade 1 caliber animal in the group. So I started to go Highland Sky, and the more I looked at it, they all finished together in the Pennine Ridge, and I started looking at the Aidan O'Brien too. I think Aidan O'Brien's going to win it. And I ended up going to Long Island Sound. The big reason why is that the horse that beat him last time is a Godolphin horse that came back to win a Group 1 in his next start. So that was a really good horse that he lost to last time, and that was for Long Island Sound, the stakes debut in a Group 3. Now he comes over here to try to pick off a Group 1 for O'Brien. And the pedigree's by Warfront out of a Pulpit mare, Claiborne Farm through and through there, so certainly has the pedigree to succeed here. So I'm going to try Long Island Sound because of what Hawkbill came back and did in the Group 1. Deauville I like a lot, obviously, too, the other O'Brien. And then otherwise, the ones I would have under my ticket, I think what I did for the Weekend Warrior blog is took the 2 O'Brien horses on top, and then in the 2 hole took those 2 plus Highland Sky, Beach Patrol, Camelot Kitten, Call Provision. I just had trouble separating there. I started to go Beach Patrol, started to go Highland Sky to Keon, and I ended up coming back to the O'Brien entry, and I'm going to take Long Island Sound, the 7, to win the Belmont Derby, and we'll talk about our pick 4 in a little bit, but I'm not going to go as deep there. The 9th race is the Suburban, 1.25 miles for 4-year-olds and up. Can FNX bounce back after his dismal performance in the Stephen Foster? You got Noble Bird, who instead of coming back to the Foster, they tried him in the Met Mile, and he got burned up there. But this looks like a good spot. Mubta Hidge, I think, is intriguing. Eagle, I started to pick here because I think Eagle's running style is going to really be a nice fit with those wide turns at Belmont Park. So I think Eagle's real dangerous here, shipping up for Neil Howard. But I ended up going to Mubta Hidge. He's got 2 wins at a mile and a quarter. Is working great for McLaughlin. Was second to California Chrome, a good second to California Chrome last time. But my main way to play the race would be just a box of those 4 horses: FNX, Noblebird, Move to Hitch, and Eagle. But for a win pick, I am going to go Move to Hitch. How about you?
Got exactly the same 4 horses, a little bit different order. FNX perplexed me on the Stephen Foster. I thought he was a lock. He was 3-5, and he didn't run well at all. Got off to a bad start. He's out wide. He had run well at Churchill in the past. He won the Clark there back in November. It almost looks like he didn't like the track, and I'm going to toss that one. Every once in a while, you just got to say they had a bad day. And if you toss that one and go off his form prior to that at Oaklawn and Santa Anita, he fits well here. So I'm going to take FNX, but Eagle is my second choice. Very close, and Eagle obviously beat him in the Stephen Foster. Ran a great race and almost caught Bradester, who had an easy lead there. And so I think you're right. I think Eagle fits this race well. I think his closing style fits the race well, and there is going to be a little bit of a speed up front. I think Noble Bird from the inside has got to be sent by Le Peru, and they sent him in the Pimlico Special, and he won by 11.5 lengths in the best performance of his career. Then he comes back in the Met Mile. Not his best distance, obviously. He needs a little more distance, and nobody was going to be frosted that day. And so I think this fits well for Noble Bird as well. They would be my top 3 picks. FNX, Eagle, and Noble Bird, and I agree with Move to Hajj coming off the Dubai World Cup race. Has been out since March, but so that's plenty of time to rest. I don't like him coming back for Dubai sometimes, but he ran well there. Only got beat by California Chrome by 3 3/4. And so I would take those 4 horses, the 1, 2, 4, 5.
10th race is the Grade 1 Belmont Oaks. This is the 3-year-old filly version at a mile and a quarter on the turf, and you have a strong opinion here.
I do have a strong opinion. I absolutely love Catch a Glimpse. She's been training here at Keeneland. According to everybody who's watched her, she has not missed a step. And I think that she's the best 3-year-old turf filly in the country. And she's one of my favorite fillies. She's won 4 Grade 3s this year, including the Penn Mile against the boys, and it really wasn't close. It wasn't a tough race for her, I don't think. I think that it sets her up well for this race. I think Auntie Joy, who followed up that runner-up finish to Catch a Glimpse, and came back and won the Grade 3 Regret. So I think if she's moving forward enough, she can challenge her. But I think that Catch a Glimpse is still better. Ballydoyle is 7 for Aidan O'Brien. First North American start is always a question mark. I think you've got to put her in there. And then Noble Beauty, the 5, has a lot of upside and gets Castellano. Chad Brown only lost the Regret by 1 1/4 in her 3rd lifetime start. So I think she's got a shot. But I'm going to keep Catch a Glimpse in the Big 4, hoping that Giroux fits this filly just great. He hasn't lost on her. And I think that she's a good bet here. But Auntie Joy, Ballydoyle, and Noble Beauty are not far behind.
I think that the most likely winner is Catch a Glimpse or one of those 2 Europeans, Ballydoyle or Coolmore. But I didn't pick any of the 3. The Catch a Glimpse, my question is the 1 1/4. But you mentioned Annie Joy came back and won. Also, the horse she beat in the previous race, I think Giant Run came back and won very impressively. So that speaks well for Catch a Glimpse. The horse I ended up going to is Price to Perfection, and I'm not real high on her win chances, but I think she could win. I think she's got a chance to run well at a bit of a price, which is odd for a Chad Brown horse. And so she's basically going to be my key horse. I'm going to use her with those other 3 that I mentioned, and hope she can get second, and maybe she finds her way into first. I went back and watched her one race at Belmont Park, and it was by far and away her best race. I like the fact that she's a granddaughter of Dynaformer, so I think that speaks well for handling the distance. And, for those reasons, I'm going to key off her. But the smart play is probably a 4-horse exacta box of those I mentioned, or you could key on Price to Perfection and use her with each one of the other 3. But I think it's going to be really interesting race because if Catch a Glimpse can get to 1 1/4, then it's hard to see them beating her. The 11th race is the Grade 3 Belmont Sprint Championship, 7 furlongs for 3-year-olds and up. Private Zone's coming back off a layoff, figures to be pretty salty. I ended up taking Marking here. Sharp workouts for McLaughlin. Second start off the layoff, they put him in the Met Mile, and his stablemate just freaked that day, Frosted. But they've obviously had a high opinion of this horse for a long time, and I think this is a much nicer spot than that Grade 1 last time to try to catch maybe Private Zone off the layoff. Anchor Down certainly merits a lot of respect after a good effort in the Met Mile. And then Joking, if you want to add one more, loves Belmont Park, but I've got a question about him at 7 furlongs. What about you?
I got off Joking in the True North, and I paid a price for it because he went off at almost 10-1. And my notes on the race before were that he loves Belmont. He's the best horse at this track in this race, and he was. And I didn't bet him, so I got off on Holy Boss that day, I think. But I'm going to take Joking simply because he is 5 for 8 at Belmont, and the 3 times he hadn't won, he ran second. So I'm going to key him first and second. I think it sets up well for him. I think there's plenty of speed to his inside between Private Zone, Anchored Down, Roxbury, and Overton. They're all going to want the lead. I think Green Grotto's he just fits here. Now, 7 furlongs, he has run a couple times. He's won twice at 7 furlongs. He hasn't recently, so that is a question mark. But I think that even flatters his closing style. So I'm going to take him, hoping that Private Zone needs a race. If Private Zone doesn't need a race, he's going to win. He's the best horse in the race by far, class-wise, but he's been off since November. I'm thinking he may not be totally cranked, and if he's not, I'm going to take Joking. I would use those 2 plus AP Indian is an intriguing horse for me. Delacour has been really good, not necessarily running horses at Belmont, but he's been hot at Delaware, at Parks. He's 29% for the year, and I like Joe Bravo on this horse. And AP Indian won at Parks last time out at 7 furlongs by 3 lengths, so he's 2 for 2 at the distance. So those are my 3 picks there, but I would take Joking the 6 on top.
Let's get a pick 4 play. I'm going to start it with the 2 Euros that I like, Long Island Sound and Deauville in the Belmont Derby. Then go 4 deep, the 4 we both agreed on in the Suburban. In the Belmont Oaks, I'm going to take the 4 horses I mentioned there, so I'll go 4 deep. And then in the last race, I would use Marking, Private Zone, Anchor Down. If you can afford one more, Joking. So it kind of depends on your budget there relative to my ticket. And what's yours look like?
Yeah, mine's real simple. Go all the first leg. That's 13 horses. 1, 2, 4, 5 in the second, the same 4 horses we talked about. Single Catch a Glimpse, the 12 in the third leg, and go 3 deep in the last with Private Zone, the 2, AP Indian, the 5, and Joking, the 6, and that costs you $58.50.
It's a really nice race sequence of races to play because you can, especially if you can, you do on Catch a Glimpse, have a strong opinion. It gives you some more flexibility because I think this could be a decent payoff. You're going to have some nice, good-sized fields in here. So should be a great day of racing. You've got some other good races around the country. It's, I think, Million Preview Day up at Arlington. Delaware has several stakes races. So some really good racing on Saturday around the country. Keep your Keeneland Select account fully funded. And for Jim Goodman, I'm Tom Leach. That is the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.